Susanna, you're hearing me okay?
I'm hearing you fine. Crystal
Very
clear.
good. Hearing you well too. So welcome everyone. I'm having some static. Let's see. Wait, get that
Yes,
to
I hear
stop.
the noise in the background.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to work on that. Okay. So welcome. We have a very special, another special Supercharged Sunday with me, Emily McHugh, and my extra special guest, Suzanne A. Muir, coming to us
Yep, you
live
got it
from
right.
Kingston, Jamaica. Woo! Okay, so my background shows Jamaica, but I'm here in Florida, but I wanted to be a part of the Jamaica energy. So, but I'm really excited to have Suzanne. We've known each other for many, many years. We went to Swarthmore College together. And so it's wonderful to reconnect after all this time and connect on the different things that we're doing. So Suzanne has been having a very phenomenal journey on many levels through fitness, wellness, well-being, and all kinds of things. And she's learned so many things along the way that as an ultimate supercharger, it would be great to hear all that she has to share. So today, Suzanne, first of all, again, welcome and tell us how it's going in Jamaica with the pandemic and everything like that.
Well, hi Emily, thanks for having me. We've been trying to organize this for months.
Yes.
Finally started. Although we did do a session like maybe 6, 9 months
Last
ago.
year,
Remember, and we
last
had
year, we
yeah, and
did.
there were some kinks at that time. So I would say this is the first real one. So how is things in Jamaica? Well, the first case of COVID-19 in Jamaica was a few days after COVID was declared a pandemic, so early March 2020. I recall personally that I was slated to talk at Research Day at the university where I work.
Mhm.
And on that day, Thursday, March 12th, which was a few days after we had the first case, they decided to cancel Research Day. So I came all dressed up to work to go to Research Day. I'd spent really months of preparation and I didn't get to talk. And the very next day, the university closed down face to face classes and it's still closed. So my JOB has been transformed since March 12th of last year. As far as the effect on education, the economy, and health, those three have been massive. Maybe many other things too, because clearly there's an effect on tourism.
Yeah.
But so tourism is a subset of the economy. Of the economy, there's no doubt there is a negative effect like all over the world. We've had the worst, according to the Minister of Finance, the worst negative for over 20 years. I don't remember the numbers, it's actually frightening. I
Right.
mean, they're hoping for a recovery, but we'll see when the recovery is really going to happen. As far as, and in fact, on that note of the economy, it's the hustlers and the poorer people seem to be the hardest hit. So really, the persons who are not economically at the upper end of
Yes.
those are the ones who are struggling the most based on the observations and the data. Then you
Yeah.
also have what's happening with health. So we're actually in our second surge, and our second surge seems to be now finally on the decline. But the medical officer of health is actually warning that we need to not take it easily. So in this second one, we actually had our health system completely to the max. In the first one, we didn't have that. So in the first one, we actually had all our hospitals completely, every single COVID bed was taken in our second surge. So I'm trying to remember, I think it's just over 700 deaths in Jamaica so far. Remember, Jamaica only has 3 million people. So it's a similar kind of death rate than many other places in the world. It's not uncommon. At first, our results were excellent. But now that we're in the second surge and there's a lot of complacency, a lot of people who don't want to um, um, take on the protocols,
Yeah.
things are a little bit challenging. So,
So
for
Suzanne,
example, it's not criminal
mhm.
to like not wear a mask in Jamaica, and still people don't wear a mask. And then, as far as education, it really has affected people as well. But
Well,
the
tell us about the
people
curfews.
still
Like
are.
you can't leave your house after 2 or something on a Sunday.
Oh,
What's
so
going
there's
on
a
with that?
curfew because of the second surge, which was really bad on the health systems and on the amount of people who are being hospitalized and dying. They basically put in place curfews since about 2 weeks before Easter. And on Saturdays, it has varied. So right now, you can go out until 6 p.m. and then you must go home. And on Sundays, it's from 2 p.m. And then every day, the curfew is till 8 p.m. So unless you have a job as a healthcare worker, a policeman, those kinds of essential types of workers, you must get home early. So
Right.
essentially, that is to reduce parties, beach going. So by the way, beaches and rivers are closed. So when I went on live and they're actually not closed, If you are a tourist or if you're a rich Jamaican who can afford to go to a private hotel, then that beach where you are that is private is open. But all public beaches and all public rivers
Oh,
are closed.
okay.
So you can actually come as a tourist. You just need to take a COVID test, um, which apparently costs quite a bit of money. My brother just came down himself. So you can't take the free one. You have to take this expensive one to come to Jamaica. So you can come, and in the first 2 weeks of coming to Jamaica, you must stay where you are, whether you are a foreigner or a Jamaican.
You have
So
a
we're letting in people
quarantine.
apart from, yeah, for quarantine. So apart from the people, even with the test. So apart from some countries which are tagged like Trinidad, India, Brazil, those people from those countries can't come in. People from the UK are just allowed to come in again, and some Jamaicans are quite distressed. But it was months where
Yeah.
nobody from UK could come in based on
Yes.
what's been happening across the world.
So that
So,
adds a level of stress to you and to everybody else
oh,
when we
definitely,
on top of all the other things you're doing anyway. So
yes.
tell us a little
I,
bit about what you're doing, your work, what you're up to.
okay, so all right. I am a professional student. Have done too many degrees. The funny thing about doing the degrees, it's not one of the things that I put as one of the hallmarks of success in my life. So right now, let me just give you a gist of what I'm about. I work at a university. I teach research methods. Have a title called Technology Entrepreneurship Subject Leader. By the way, Emily, that basically means, along other things, that I just helped craft parts of syllabi for teaching students how to do entrepreneurship online. So
Hmm.
that's actually pretty interesting.
Yes.
And I'm focusing right now in my job on helping students improve their research output as well as my research output. Uh, in terms of something there's 3 years of my life that on a personal note, I'm focusing on. So there is the research. There is my for fun fitness. So fitness and reading are my two probably favorite hobbies. And for those who don't know, I have lost 40 pounds and kept it off for 6+ years. I believe that weight loss maintenance is the secret that people don't know about. Pretty much people know how to lose weight. Weight loss maintenance is the challenge to actually keep it up. And by the way, I've actually lost weight 4 times. And each time I did maintain for a certain amount of time, but this time it's going to be for life. Well, outside of being sick in hospital of some unknown
So
disease.
Suzanne, you're also currently a doctoral candidate, correct? You're
Oh, yes.
pursuing your
I
PhD.
applied. I told you I was a professional student. So I applied and was successful. I'm a MPhil PhD student in public health at the University of the West Indies, but I actually have taken a leave of absence because I'm doing so many things and this pandemic really has been challenging for me. So it was very rewarding to see that I got an A in epidemiology last semester in the middle of the pandemic, because that's what understanding epidemiology is really at the heart of figuring out how to tackle happening with public health. And as somebody who's really passionate about 2 years, 3 years of public health, I'm passionate about epidemiology, about health promotion, and about health policy. Those are the 3 areas of public health that really piqued my interest. What you may not know is that I'm actually on the official COVID-19 research group for the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And that has been really fascinating. I've learned so much both about research and about big groups, because when I went to Swarthmore with you, nobody in the orientation, they said many wonderful things. They didn't tell me how important it was for me to learn how to work in groups. So it has taken me all the way until the latter years of my life to realize that working with groups is actually a part of what you need to succeed in life.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. So
yeah, but
Suzanne,
I didn't learn it. Nobody even told me. So I've learned
well,
this very late in life.
most of us it takes a while to learn that. That's for sure, because people assume that you automatically know how to work with people, and that's not true. It's definitely a
No, no, but I
learned
didn't even know
skill.
it was important. Nobody even told me pay attention to this. People told me
Okay.
many other things, but that's not one of the things I was told.
Very good. So let's
Yes,
dive into your topic, because it's a big topic and we want to make sure we cover all the things. So our title
sure.
today is supercharging your wellness and transforming your mind and body with the ACE method. So of course we're
Mhm.
very eager to know what the ACE method is, and my sound keeps causing trouble. So please, my apologies on that. Oh, I'm getting this static. I'm going to turn that down. Okay.
Right. So, uh, right. So I'm going to say one more thing I wanted to tell you, since I didn't know I was going to have this long introduction. In terms of what was really interesting to me is that once I started to lose weight this last time, people started saying, "What's my secret?" And so because of that, I created this Facebook group, and at the end of the session, I'll encourage anybody who's in to listen.
The Amaze group.
And then
Mhm.
I came up. It's Always Fitness Transformation support group. I came up with a little motto: always you inspire others too. And that is really why I am willing to do this, because I basically decided that I want to inspire people. And so every time people tell me that something I do is actually inspirational, I'm like, wow, my motto is actually coming true. It's actually
Yes,
pretty fun.
that's the key.
So,
People need to be inspired.
right.
Absolutely.
So we had a discussion about ABC versus ACE, and I said let's go with ACE because ABC might sound like it is easy, not just simple. I think
Right.
that many things in life are simple, but not as easy as we would like. So ACE stands for aspire, commit, and excel. And because your group is called Supercharge, I'm going to, after I talk about ACE, I'm going to talk about some other principles that I made up today. Didn't make up today. I just have an acronym, Super ID, and that's going to be the end of the my tips. So let's start with the Aspire, Commit, and Excel. So as I was saying to you right before we started the recording, the three things that I think that when I think about for myself and my well-being that have really made a big difference in the last 10 years has been looking at my work life, looking at my health and wellness, including my weight loss journey, as well as very recently my family. And so for all three of them, I can definitely testify that being aspirational, making a commitment, and going towards excellence, by the way, not perfection, because I'm a recovering perfectionist procrastinator. So just for those who don't know, perfectionism is a no-go. If you're still a perfectionist, please go and read about it. I don't think we have enough time today to explain why it's a horrible um, idea to adopt. And it's not something that I intended to adopt. I just did. I don't even know how. But I have discovered that going for excellence is not the same as going for perfection. And it really is all the difference in the world. So in any area, if you really want to have well-being, and by the way, let's stop and say some basics. So we all know that we're human beings. We're not human doings. So the first thing you need to know for anything you're doing is that you have to take care of yourself first. So even though this ACE is about aspiring, committing, and excelling, the first thing you have to remember is yes, you want to aspire for something, but first you have to remember that who you are is important. Who you are right now, you can be grateful. Where you are right now, you can say, I have achieved something. Where I'm right now, I'm breathing and living. Where I am right now is something that is worth taking note. Something about it is remarkable. Something. I'm not sure what it is for you. So I could give you a long list for me. So I was there thinking, okay, how can Emily said, what can I do in Jamaica? So here am I. My favorite, my favorite treat, my favorite word. One second. My favorite mango is a Bombay. So here we go. Wait, how do I put this on the screen? I'm trying to figure out. Oh, here
Now
it
you're
is.
gonna make us really hungry and
No,
extremely
no,
dry.
no. I'm trying to put the. Oh, here we go. So here's a Bombay. I just picked. Sorry, the tree that you're seeing is a Bombay mango tree.
All
And this was
right.
under where we are. So the reason I'm showing you this is I said, okay, what can I do to make it look like I'm in Jamaica?
You're
Curfew
very
starting
real.
up in about half an hour. But hey, I'm actually at a house that has my favorite tree. So let me go upstairs and, you know, because this is like the best place probably for me in this house. So I bought this plant. I said, let me bring it up here. Nice, cool, like pretty plant. And yeah, so the whole point is I actually can today eat a Bombay, my favorite Bombay tree. Yeah, I happen to be on curfew and I don't like that. But we could go through a list. My health is okay. I have a job. I mean, yeah, many parts of it is more challenging than ever before. But guess what? And this is for real. I'm actually learning things that I never thought I'd ever learn. And I actually realized because it's COVID. So in the middle of really hard times, I've ended up learning things that I don't know if I would have ever learned otherwise, which is actually good for me and for other people.
Right.
So that would be a whole story by itself, but I'm just giving you the backdrop of everything is learning how to be grateful and generous and accepting even the toughest of times is the backbone to starting the ACE method, which I'm now saying is aspire, believe, and excel, right? So in any area of your life that you want to supercharge your life, and remember, at least remember, my perspective is you can't supercharge everything. So whatever you think you're supercharging, please do not think you are. Even we might be superheroes to other people, and even if we have superpowers, which I'm about to talk about mine, we don't have superpowers in everything. So in the middle of saying that here we're going to talk about this method, and there are many ways to talk about the same method. I don't think anything I'm going to say today is unique to me. I just think that what's going to be unique is I have some acronyms. That's it. I don't know if anything I'm saying today is that unique. So I heard you putting I'm going to say something unique. I'm going to say I doubt it.
But you're special. You know
Oh,
what you're saying, what you're sharing is important, and that's really what matters. It's
it's
important.
important. Yeah. Oh,
Important.
definitely. If I didn't think it was important, I would have said, Emily, I have lots of other things doing.
Yeah, it's
So
very important.
I'm hoping it's important and will inspire people to step up their life to supercharge it. I'm just using your term. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm writing a book called Activate Wow, and that's the same principle. So when my book comes out, maybe we can come on and talk about my book. You know,
Yes.
whenever it's ready. So back to my story. So um, I'm saying the principles are aspire. So if it is whatever area that you want to go, so let me give you one example. So the one that's easiest to talk about at the beginning would be the weight loss and the weight loss maintenance. So I had finished my master's in public health in 2013, and I had gained over 25 pounds during that period. And I looked at a physician on TV who was in charge of health promotion in Jamaica. And she got on, she was obese, not even overweight, obese. And she got on TV and said, people need to lose weight. And I thought, why doesn't she not send somebody other than herself to give that story? And I thought, there's no way I'm going to be even a free health promoter without looking the picture of health. And so I said, well, I've done this before. It's going to be harder over 40. Everybody knows this. And I was despairing. I'm like, can I do this? And I thought, but I did it before. So I said, well, what if it worked? I said, what would I lose if I did not do it? I thought, well, if I failed, no, I wouldn't have lost anything. So with the wasn't sure it was going to work, I set off for the fourth time to lose weight. And the long story short is it took me a whole 15 months because I didn't know as much then as I know now to lose the 40 pounds. Took me about that length of time. And what is to me much more amazing than that 40 pounds in about 15 months is that I've kept it off for 6 years. And I know for sure, outside of a medical condition, I know for sure, outside of some stress or medical condition, I know how to maintain it for the rest of my life. And I actually can share the tips with you. I don't think we have enough time for that, but I have the list off the top of my head. So I'm just saying I know how to do that. And that alone has that aspirational and commitment led to the excellence of people are like, yeah, people know I'm so supposedly known for this among a small group of people that there are people who think that this is my profession. I've had people actually walk on the road with my fitness outfit and they think I'm a trainer. I'm not a trainer. Yeah, I have certification, by the way. to train people. But that's what I do for a living. For about 2 years, I was doing some online coaching, and I want to return to that again, but I'm not doing that right now, taking a break for the moment. So what I'm saying though is that when you aspire and you commit and you excel, it increases your self-confidence. That's what I found. Even independent of all the other goals in your life. So that's also been the case in my work. And there could be a long list of things I could talk about there. So what I'm saying is my suggestion to anybody who's listening, if there's something that you haven't reached where you want to reach, you first need to figure out what is your dream and vision and write it down, right? Then you need to commit to it, as in the principles that's going to happen. And then if you persist, you're likely to excel. And that excelling will vary from person to person. So not everybody who goes out to make an Olympic team makes the Olympic team, and not everybody who goes to the Olympics wins a gold medal. I would say that we all have to remember that. It's just the facts of life. So it is better, I think, if you can find the areas in our life that we're best at. Because if you try to pursue something that you're not naturally good at, even when you put all the effort into it, it can be a bit frustrating. So it's really good if you can't do it yourself, you find a professional or friends who can help you identify the kind of things that you tend to be good at, especially in your drive for a work life. In terms of your hobbies, just do the things that you love doing. I would say everybody should have at least one hobby, and everybody, if possible, should either have a job that they like or something that they're volunteering that they really like doing. That's my take on life. Because life is only worth living if you are doing things that are good to yourself and good to other people. That's my really strong idea. So I want to know, did you have a question or a comment?
Well, I just want to let you know we have some people watching. Want to thank everyone who's out there with us and some really great comments. Yvonne has made some great comments here. Um, um, Missing Jamaica. So you're making us miss Jamaica, Suzanne. And
Okay.
Carmen, thanks for being here. So let's see. Kind of recapping what you're saying. Aspire, seed, commit, EXL. She's written that down in the comments. And being a
Okay.
recovering perfectionist, you're so right. Perfectionism is a foil for procrastination. And for
Mm-hmm.
years, I did not realize that. That's what and Yvonne shares that with her clients now, and that is so true. It really is a
Mm-hmm.
good excuse to procrastinate. And
Right.
Carmen says some
So,
of us are jacks of all trades and masters of none. We think we can do it all, so we do have to choose. So yeah, thank
well,
you
the thing
everyone.
about it, I actually am naturally, I think there's whole of fancy words for it. But I am actually a natural person who's good at many things. Meaning, let's even go officially. When I had finished my second master's, remember, I'm just a professional student. That's because I just love learning. I love learning more informally than learning in school, by the way. When I finished my master's at Drexel, yeah, that was, oh, it was my first master's, right. When I finished, I went to a counselor. I went to counselor, career counselors at every place I went to school until I realized that that wasn't going to help me anymore. But at Drexel, this really wise looking old man who happened to be the career counselor, he gave me a battery of tests. And I finally said to him, so, sir, when are we going to finish the test? Like, he's like, soon, soon, soon. So finally he said, he's like, I got it. I'm like, really? Like, I'm waiting to hear. He's like, you can do anything you want. I'm like, wait, I've been hearing this all my life. So he gave me he's like, your personality is very unusual and you can do. I'm like, I said, I came to you to help me to try to figure out what I must do. He's like, well, maybe you could be a consultant. So to be fair, I think the danger is not so much that some people can do several things. In terms of actually adding value to the world, you still need to choose. So the problem I have with some people is that some people are really good at one or two things and they think that everybody's like them. And they want to tell people like me that no, 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 you're really not good at these many things. But if people independent of me have actually told me this. My problem is I did not figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up until past 40. With lots of trying. I went to career counselors, I bought books, I did self-reflection, I did the whole thing. And thank God I now know what I want to be when I grow up. And I'm being serious to grow up. The good thing is that I'm still growing up if you guys have heard, there's something called the growth mindset. I'm growing up. There are other ways you grow up too. Personal development. I'm growing up, and I'm happy that that's what's going on. So I want to go to the second set of thoughts I had for this supercharge with Emily today. So Emily, I had first said I was going to give some extra tips, and I sort of spinned it to decide that I want to talk about super ID. So I'm just going to give you the list. So sorry, I'm playing on the supercharge. So to have a super ID, I'm saying that you should have self-compassion. I'm using only noun phrases, even noun phrases I've made up. So forgive me, all of those of you who believe that people should make up their own words. How do you think new words come into being? People make them up. Okay, moving on. So super ID is self-compassion plus unstoppability plus pure principles plus excitement plus re-energized bent. Well, that's the super part. And we'll go to the idea at the end. So let's just stay right there and talk about each of them. We'll come to the idea at the end. So just quickly, the one thing that I'm somebody who has had, the biblical expression that says that we should love others as we love ourselves. But part of loving yourself includes self-compassion. That's one thing I've really struggled with most of my life. And during the pandemic, it's been even especially more difficult for me personally. So to get to a point right now, part of the reason I've delayed this supercharge with Emily is that I'm having some challenges because my father is not in the best of health, and trying to figure out how to help him has been very tough, including how to think about how much I'm helping him and to think about if I'm doing it at a good enough level. And in thinking all of that, I've had to realize that I need to have compassion for myself. I'm learning how to do this. I'm just like I'm learning how to teach online in the middle of a pandemic. All of these things I'm learning, and given all of these challenges, it's very important. If we want to be super, we need to have self compassion. I presume that we all know what it's just, we're just using the word self compassion literally as it says, compassion for the self. I don't know how to tell you how to have self compassion, but if you are critical of yourself or critical of others, then you're likely to not be. In fact, if you're like me, critical of others, you're also likely to be more critical of yourself. So if you're somebody who you find yourself very critical of others, it means that you're likely, in my opinion, I don't have none research, you're likely to be also be critical of yourself. And self-compassion is the first step towards improving critiquing, as in reducing the amount. Remember, having good critical appraisal is good, but a critique that tears down is not good. There's a difference between a critique that is really about the person and like performance of activity. So when I say self compassion, I'm like saying, remember that you are special. Remember that if you're making an effort, either maybe you're tired, maybe you don't understand certain things, maybe you're not even performing how you could because you don't know how. So be so self-compassionate. Secondly, on my bonus, remember, I just did Ace quickly because I think it's pretty much self-explanatory. Unstoppability, I am going to say, is combining grit and growth mindset. So those are two areas that people have talked about a lot. I think are super important. So they find, for example, in research that children who have grit tend to succeed the most. That's supposed to be the most important, according to one set of researchers. And another set of researchers says that having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset is super important. So I'm putting them together. If you have grit, meaning you persevere, and if you believe that you're not stuck, but you can grow, if you put them together, you are likely to succeed. Now, when I say unstoppability, I don't mean that you never stop anything. It could be that you're going through one path and you realize, oh, that particular goal is not worth doing anymore. So you shift to another goal. It could be you're doing a goal and the particular tactic for that goal is not the best tactic or the strategy. So I'm not saying you will never stop something. I'm just saying that I think that to be a super, super, super wonderful person in the life that's going to make a difference, and I think we can all make a difference. Remember, difference even by being generous. You can make a difference by being having a smile. You can make a difference in so many small ways. I'm just saying, don't stop making a difference. And I've been somebody who wanted to stop. In my teenage years, I didn't want to live. Literally, I was suicidal. So I know what it feels like, both as a teenager, many points of my life to wanting to stop. And I could talk on and on, not today, about why I have not stopped. It's really not a small measure for me. And I've actually realized that I have come to have both grit and a growth mindset, and that is part of the answer of why if I am successful, that's part of the answer for me. And by the way, success is not, I think success should be self-defined. And that could be a whole topic by itself too. So then moving on to pure principles. So I just mean principles, but I just put pure because some people have some horrible principles. I live in a country where unfortunately, the homicide rate is in the top 10 in the world. Let's not talk about that. And other things are not good either. We have something called bad mind, where people exhibit like um, thinking and behavior towards other people that is not positive. So when I say pure principles, I'm saying please do not adopt bad mind. Do not adopt killing other people as a good principle. So when I mean pure principles, I believe as well that people should figure out what are their highest values and attitudes and then live by them. And if necessary, get friends and family, counselors, anybody you can to help you. If your faith community can help you, whatever it is, but do what you can to live actually according to principle.
And
It
Suzanne, if I could
makes all the difference.
interject for a moment right there, just to translate for people. So bad mind in Jamaica, when we use that term, it really is someone who has bad motives. So their
Yeah.
motives towards you are poor, or they have ulterior motives that are not good. So that's when we use that term from a Jamaican perspective, that's what we mean. So people can understand exactly what that means. And we use that term a lot to have
We
a
do.
bad mind
I actually think it
person.
means more than that, but yeah, that's probably the most
What would you
common
what would you like to add
interpretation.
to it?
Well, I don't know. You see, I'm a Jamaican that my primary language is English, and bad man, I would say, is part of patois. But the way I see people use it, it includes bad motives. It includes when somebody actually does what we call bad driving. They also say they have bad mind, because bad mind is both the intention as well as anything that comes out in terms of action that shows
Right.
that
Intention
you
and
have
action.
ill will towards another person in the
Right.
action. So it is
Exactly.
both the intention and the action that we all say, oh, too much people with bad mind.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yes. So
That's
I'm just
good.
adding to what you're saying. And in fact, if there's some Jamaican who wants to correct us, go right ahead.
We have a lot of Jamaicans listening, so I'm sure they can definitely.
Yeah. So I say we all need to live by our principles. And then I'm gonna put excitement and re-energize bent. Remember, I'm trying to go with nouns together as a yin yang principle. We all want wow in our lives, yes? So we want to find a way to have something that's exciting. Like for me, I like feeling strong. So when I do bench press and I do my highest ever bench press ever, for me, that's actually exciting. I don't like doing ab exercises. When I do it, sorry, that's not exciting. Like I'm weird. I like strength training exercises. So the fact that I actually have lost some strength, the only thing that's exciting to me right now is that I know that in 6 months I'll be back where I was because I have reduced my. So what's exciting about it right now is that I'm getting back to how strong I was before. But in the meantime, it's good to it's part of the excitement is from one workout to the next. I see the progress, right? Similarly, let me give another example right now in my life. I just started at my workplace at a university where I work. I've started something I call awesome. So I have a lot of amazing things in my life. So I have my amazing Facebook group with 400 plus people. It hasn't been so active recently because I've been so busy with work. But then I just started in May an awesome research lab. And what has been really fascinating with the awesome, sorry, it actually stands for something. Awesome is for academic writing experiences, uh, oh, upskilling. Let's see, awesome. wait, some. Oh, okay. Oh,
It's
supervisors
fine.
and what about supervisors and students upskilling, mentoring. Anyway, so awesome. So it's a research lab to help students and staff improve their skills in research. And what's been really interesting, myself and a colleague, we actually did a survey of the students and staff in the last week, and we looked and pretty much their the evaluation was everybody was moderate to excellent, and the evaluation of the intention was all excellent. So what I find exciting about it is the response of the staff is better than I possibly imagined. So staff are like, oh, this is so amazing. Sorry, the students are like, yeah. The students are like a little bit more reserved, but the staff are like, oh, this is exactly what we need. And I've been so wowed. And for me, I'm willing to put, this is, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm willing, and for me, it's been so exciting to having results even better than I expected already. But this is really hard work. So all of us, we can't guarantee for the excitement. We need to look for excitement through results and excitement through the process.
Mm.
So if we can't find a way to be excited through the process, you're gonna have difficulty persevering. So my tip to everybody is remember, it took me until I was over 40 to figure out what I want to be when I grew up. So literally, I have had decades of just doing things because either people told me it's a good idea or I think it's a good idea, and I'm not excited. So I'm saying my own life is the story that if you persevere long enough, there is a possibility that excitement is coming. So I'm saying that you want to kind of mix that. Guess what? Life is not always exciting. And so here's my other, the yin yang is the re-energize bent. So in other words, you must have a bent to re-energize yourself. So in the middle of today, I was actually thinking of doing other things. I just said, okay, the only thing I did today was I lifted up some stuff around the house, got the place a little bit more organized, and I prepared for this. I was actually thinking of doing something else work like, and I'm like, I realized no. Even though I did no work yesterday and no work on Friday, I'm like, okay, 3 full days of no work. Guess what? Tomorrow I'll be working really hard because if I don't re-energize, if I don't have that bent, that decision, I won't be able to work hard to have that excitement. Even my strength training and my cardio, if you don't rest, you won't get the results you want. Really, rest and re-energizing yourself is critical to having a supercharged life. So, and then let's see, I have this thing. Right. So this was, by the way, I was having lunch and did this today. So I love making acronyms. So this is fun for me. So I hope you guys like this. So now on to the last two ideas. So it's identity and dream delivery system. So for an ID, so we all need an ID, which normally stands for identity or identity card. So I'm saying that to really have a super ID, you need an identity. Now, if you don't have a clear identity, in the short time I'm here with you, I'm not going to be able to help you with that. But as some short tips, I think you need to ask yourself, meaning reflect. I think you need to, if you are a person who believes in God or some higher power, then you should pray. I think no matter whether you, no, I think everybody without exception should read. So if you want to know your identity, it's really useful to read um, wisdom literature. So that wisdom literature for you could be uh, uh, anything from self-help books. And by the way, a lot of self-help books is foolishness. So be careful in reading self-help books. Some of them I think take people nowhere altogether. So you need to find stuff that will actually help you. In fact, I didn't put this on my list, but inspiring YouTube videos can also help. So like TED Talks are wonderful. Not all of them, of course, but some are great. So reading, watching inspiring videos, and having patience. So I think it's really good to actually know your identity. And then your identity will be linked to you having a dream, which should then tie to a vision, mission, strategy, tactics. But you need to have a dream delivery system. And what in the world could I mean by that? If you know your dream, and by that I mean the dream is tied to a vision, mission, strategy, tactics, all of that. if that's not tied to habits in your life, you won't you will never have the dream come true. So I'm still learning my own dream delivery system personally. Um, as I told you, I have really grand dreams for being involved in a researcher in public health and computing. So I'm pursuing that. I have some big dreams in terms of person helping people with fitness and health. I've already helped people who have lost weight, and that's been really fantastic. And I'm in the process of writing books for the general public. So I have lots of high hope. And guess what? I have so many high hopes that if you knew all of them, you'd say, no, 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 Susan, you should be doing them. But end of it is my one life. And what is really good about where I am right now is that I finally know what I want to be when I grow up. And I'm saying, oh, I forgot. I want to tell you guys. This is just bonus now. I actually discovered my superpowers maybe about 2 years ago. So in my estimation, my superpowers are AI. Can anybody guess? And it's not artificial intelligence, including Emily. Can anybody guess what A or I would stand for? Let's wait. A stands for something and I stands for something.
Could
Can
it
any of
connect it
you?
to your amaze by chance?
No, our maze is not in it, but that's a good guess.
Okay. Is it close? It's close.
Uh, well, the thing about it, you need to know what the army stands for, which you could talk about. But I said, good guess. It's actually linked to part of the armies, but I don't know if you know what the armies stands for. Because for me, armies is more than just awesome. So for anything else, A and I, just regular words, guys. Words that everybody knows. Anybody who's under 10 knows these words. Guess what either A or I stands for?
Well, we need some kind of hint because it's kind of like it's a little bit open there.
It's really open. I'm like, just wondering if anybody could guess. Well, guess what? Anybody who's on here who knows me would know that from I've been a little girl, I ask questions. So A is asking questions.
Oh, ask.
Yeah,
Oh,
so yeah, so ask is really a superpower for me. I even in the math in the program I'm in, I ask the most questions, the dean of everybody. I go to the research groups, the people say, oh, you have really good questions. It's really a superpower of mine. And the reason why that's so important is that if you ask really good questions, that's how you learn. If you ask really good questions as a researcher, that's how you do good research. If you don't have good research questions, you can't. So it's really been, and by the way, there's a man called Noah, what's his last name? There's a guy who actually taught me that you can actually ask yourself questions to solve problems. So you can say, what can I do to do this? And he calls that affirmations. So you can use questions for so many problem solving issues that I'm not saying it should be your superpower, that's just one of mine. And then my other one, which I wouldn't expect you to guess. So I'll just tell you. So my other one is imagine or imagination. I have a vivid imagination and most people don't know. So I do. That's why I could just for fun make up this weird um super ID thing today just to talk. So just to let everybody know, this is not everything in life that's important. But guess what? I'm saying to everybody who's listening to me now or in the replay that it is possible. If you know how clinical depressed I have been on and off all my life, really for real. I mean, based on professional. And you can tell, not by this moment, if you knew what has happened and that even in COVID, where I thought, how am I going to manage these crazy things? And I've gotten to today, and I'm like, wow, I'm still saying it's if it's not a miracle, it really is something transformational. Whatever way you want to put a label on it, I don't care. But I do know that it is possible for your life to be better if you're deliberate about it. So back to the principles that we're saying to start, aspire, commit, and excel. And we have something in Jamaica that we say wheel and come again. If you realize that what the way you're doing that is not working, that's why it's good to read. That's why it's good to listen. That's why it's good to have friends and accountability partners because not all the time what we think is the best path or the best way to actually get to the goal, we're not always right. And so it's a good thing we can live in a community and can have a tribe so that we can self-correct or have other people correct us. So that's the and the only other thing I'd want to say in terms of my long speech is that I've actually also done that in my professional life. I've not talked about it a lot here, but I've worked at the same job for 22 and a half years and counting. And let's just say the first 11 years easily, many parts of it I did not like. And I took some intentional actions at the same job to make it so that even though I still don't like about 30% of my job, it has transformed quite a bit by intentional actions, really by being aspirational. So I'm really saying that my life is far from perfect, but if my life can transform, I am suggesting that yours can too.
Suzanne, this is very, very inspirational on multiple levels. And I want to
Okay.
thank you for sharing all of these things and it's really breaking it down. We have to kind of go back and break it down a little bit. But if you could share a couple tips on how you have managed to maintain this weight loss for all this time. You said you lost, is it 40 pounds and have
Yeah.
maintained. So what are some of the secrets
Yeah,
to
man.
or
Sure, I can
insights to
definitely.
maintaining?
Yeah. What do you want? The 3 minute or the 10 minute one?
Let's do the 3 minutes since we really have 10 minutes left. So
Okay,
we
good.
don't
I'll
want.
do the three. I'll give you the list. The list is as we all know, no, as you probably don't know, in my mind, the number one importance is mindset. So as we all know, the other two that we all know is important is nutrition and physical activity. Notice I'm using the word physical activity because physical activity includes exercise. So if you are a construction worker, your physical activity, you don't have to exercise because you're doing so much work. So physical activity, so the top three, most of us know about mindset, nutrition, physical activity. But then there are the secret S's that not everybody knows about that are so important for weight loss maintenance. In no particular order, here they all are. Self-monitoring. So self-monitoring means measuring your measuring your weight at least once a week. I would suggest measuring your waist might be better than your weight. However, this doesn't matter, whatever works for you. I measure my weight regularly, at least 4 times. When I forget, I forget. But measuring my weight works for me. By the way, measuring your weight when you're losing weight might be a bad idea for you because you might think, oh my God, there's nothing happening. So I wouldn't suggest that you weigh a lot when you're trying to lose weight. This whole area is a big, big area, and not everybody's even the same. But for weight loss maintenance, you should definitely measure. It's called self-monitoring in the literature, and there's actually science on that. And it works for me too. So self-monitoring, sleep. There's literature and my own experience. If you don't get enough sleep, you're going to eat more. Just think about it. Sleep, enough sleep. So you need to be rested. Everybody needs more different amounts of sleep. Typically, most people need at least 7 hours. Like my brother apparently only needs about 5.5 or so because he's unusual. But most people need a lot of sleep to feel rested. So enough sleep to feel rested. You also need stress management techniques. I don't think I need to say more on that. If you're stressed, you're going to eat more. And remember, eating and mindset. So the stress management is going to affect your mindset. Oh my God, I can't even do that. So stress management, if it's going to affect your mindset. So they're all cyclical. They all affect each other. And then there is social support. So if you are a woman in some parts of Jamaica and your husband, okay, yeah, and your husband or your partner doesn't like you being slim, even though you need it for good health, you actually have negative social support. So the point is social support, both the negative and the positive, really affects your ability to get what is good for you. So you actually need to find people in your life who are going to support the goals that you have. Have I missed anything? This is off the top of my head. So I might have missed one and I've forgotten it. So sleep, social support, stress management. I think I said 4 plus 3 7. So those are the 7 primary ones. You could debate that there's some others, like for some people supplements might be helpful. Some people might argue that sex, and there are two parts of sex there. It's actually easier for men to lose and to maintain weight loss than women based on research. And some people might even say sexual activity might be important. I won't even go there today. But the point is, I've brought up the most important principles. Essentially, you start small, baby steps. So if you want to change, start with baby steps. Because if you're doing too many things in your life, you're not going to be likely to, even if you're grossly morbidly obese, you're not going to be likely to make a big change unless you're only doing that. So if you're doing 5 things in your life, be happy with 1 pound a week, even if you're morbidly obese. Because eventually, in 4 years, you could remember only 5% of weight loss, if you're overweight or obese, actually leads to improved health outcomes based on research. So you also need to also, I would love, I'm already just at the borderline. I'm about BMI of about 25. So I'm no longer overweight. But I prefer to be about 10 pounds less than I am right now. But I'm fine. I'm fine. Guys, if it is that you're overweight, you don't need to be slim. If you go from a size 18 dress to a size 14 dress, your health is better. You can feel better. Do not punish yourself that you're not a size 4. So anyway, so that's no, I'm just that's extra. So maybe I should put in self-esteem as one of the things as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's a lot of things. So you need to basically have some of those things in place, not all of them, for you to have weight loss maintenance.
Well, Suzanne, those are very similar to what it takes to succeed as an entrepreneur as well. Everything that you just said, having
And those things
metrics.
are also important for almost every single non-communicable disease. It's in different, sorry, for almost everyone. So whether it's high blood pressure, which is the number one in Jamaica,
Mm.
heart disease kills more people in the US and in Jamaica than anywhere else. It's not the same order, but those things are what will prevent heart disease, what kills more people in the world than anything else. So we're in the middle of a pandemic, and if you get COVID, if you have any non-communicable disease, you're going to do worse than if you didn't have one. So today is the day to start.
Well, you know
You
what,
can
Suzanne?
move for 10 minutes.
I think one of
Everybody can move for 10 minutes.
the key things that you're saying, everything is important, but one to highlight a little bit more is the whole idea of the stress management techniques, because that's
Mhm.
where that's the thing that can run the blood pressure up. That's the thing that can just throw off all the goals. So what are some stress manage a couple that you could share, even one or two that you would recommend?
Wow. I'm not, I don't, okay, let me see if I can just brainstorm. I wouldn't consider myself a brainstorm, a stress management expert at all. But I would say one of the things that helps me a lot is to make sure, this is going to be strange, is to find ways to be grateful. That's not enough addressing the stress. So, if possible, find a way to be grateful. According to the literature, you should write it. I don't normally write it. So, find ways to be grateful. Find ways to be generous. This just might sound counterintuitive. Find ways to do something that is celebratory, whether about your life or somebody else's life. In the morning and the evening, do things that, like for example, in the evening, it's good to plan your next day. So if you plan your day in advance, you're like less likely to be stressed. Doesn't always work, but if you are taking rest every week, you're less likely to experience either burnout or to freak out when something surprising happens. There are lots of basic principles back to if you sleep enough, if you are spending time with friends, your ability to manage stress is a whole lot better. So in the middle of high stress moments, right now Suzanne Muir does not handle high stress moments as well as she could. So what I do personally is I do all these other things so that when I'm in high stress, I will not go berserk. So I would say it's all the other habits that for me help with stress management. Oh, by the way, clearly, having good friends and going to counseling. So I actually see a therapist that definitely helps with stress management for me. Hopefully that gives you some tips. And
It
by the way,
does.
you can Google it.
Those are
Google
great
stress
tips.
management, and there'll be a whole long list of things. Do the ones that work for you.
Yeah, those are great. Those are great tips and great advice. And I want to, Suzanne, I know our time is running down, but you've shared so much with us. And I want to thank all the people who've been watching and sharing comments. Any questions you have, please put them in here. If you have comments on the replay, add them as well. Please like, share, comment on this post, because we want more people to get the benefit of the insights you've shared with us today, Suzanne. And people can connect with you through your Facebook group, right? Amaze Fitness. Tell
Right,
us, right?
right. So you can yeah, well, yeah, I have a Facebook group that's called Always You Fitness Transformation Support. It also has a page. I haven't been using the page a lot, so I would say you can once you're an adult, you can join the group. It's a private group. You
Yeah.
just ask to join. Hopefully, you can link it in the chat.
I have. I
I
just linked it in the chat, Suzanne, so
right.
people can see it there.
At the moment, if you want, you can also follow me on Facebook. I tend to post a lot of both inspiration and fitness on my chat. Some things about my personal life, but it's a mix. If you feel like you're free to follow me. Most of my posts these days are now public intentionally. So you can feel free to follow me. I won't promise you I'm going to accept you as a friend because I actually look to see. I only want friends that, for example, have a picture. If you don't have a picture, I won't accept you ever
So
unless I
you're
knew
gonna
you're
do
ready.
research on your
Yeah, man.
friends.
I look at your post. So if you post
Good.
pure nonsense, I'm like, no, I don't. They can follow me. So anybody can follow me, but you have to qualify as, remember, a Facebook friend is only associate. To qualify as my associate, I want you to be a neutral or good person. Is that fair, Emily?
It is very fair. Put down the rules, Suzanne. Let them know the pure principles of Facebook friendship.
Exactly. So as in, also for myself, for own self-preservation. Do you know that
Absolutely.
when I hear people complaining on Facebook that people put all these negative things, guess what? My friends don't do that because if they're like that, I've actually only got rid of about two friends because I only accept friends who like me to put this is not because I'm good. It's because I just have enough logic that I say, let's not have friends that are not good for me.
There you
What you
go. There
think?
you go. So
It's just
so
simple.
Suzanne, no, those are great insights. And unfortunately, we have to wrap up because you know how the time flies off.
Yeah, man.
But it's been so wonderful. So I want everyone to know that I will be posting a blog post following up on this talk today, highlighting some of the great points that Suzanne shared with us. So on my superchargewithemily.com website on my blog. And also to let you know that tomorrow morning, Mondays, we have the Monday Momentums where I share some insights as well to get you your momentum for your week and supercharging your week. And also my upcoming free group coaching session. I'm offering a special session this month of May, the last week of May. So I have about 4 slots, like 15 minutes per person. We'll do like an hour on Zoom like this, and you get to bring and ask your questions. So that's an opportunity as well. I'll be posting more about it. So I invite you all, anyone who has some business point that you want to review, we'll discuss that in the Supercharge with Emily group. And if you're not a member of the group, I invite you to join it as well.
Oh,
So,
Emily,
yes, Suzanne,
I was thinking that I would actually ask to be part of that. I saw it
it,
from before. The
yeah, it'd
15
be
minutes.
wonderful to have you on that.
Okay.
Yes, so you're down. You're on the list. Excellent. So guys,
Okay.
sign up before it gets full. No, thank you,
Okay, so
Suzanne. It was
I'm
so
down then already. So I'm down already. We just need to figure out the time.
very good. Well, we'll get it all worked out. But you know what, guys? It's so wonderful to have you. And Suzanne, I'm so exhilarated to see the beautiful plants behind you, see real Jamaica, and be connected to my heritage there. So let me see what you and
Yeah, the
your
mango.
Bambi, your mango. Lord have mercy. Now I got that. Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I need to come to Jamaica where you can get all kind of things like cool. See here.
Let me see what.
I bought
Let's
these
look here.
shoes last weekend.
I
The
like
sandals. You know,
those
that
are
reggae sandals.
those
And
are cute.
sandals. The sandals. You can't you see it?
I like those. We gotta
It's
import
cool.
that
It's
to
a
the
cool
US.
sandals. I was trying to show it earlier. The point
Are
is, Jamaica, guys, is a wonderful place. I would certainly recommend you come to Jamaica.
were those
Um,
made in Jamaica? Those sandals right there?
yeah, I
I
bought them
love them.
from some restaurant just last weekend. Just
Very
1 week
nice.
ago, I bought them.
Oh, Jamaican handiwork is so
Yeah,
so beautiful.
handcraft from leather. Excellent. And
Beautiful.
I told them that I took their business card and I said people will buy it when they see how well it fit my foot. It fit my foot perfectly.
Oh, we may have to talk about that. We have to talk about that. But that's really, really wonderful. So I know our time is up here on Supercharged Sunday, but everyone, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting. And again, it's thank you, especially Suzanne, for coming on. And I invite
You're
you
welcome.
all to be back with me next week as we have another wonderful supercharger coming up. And stay tuned for the promotions on that. So, in the meantime, stay supercharged, keep well, and as we say in Jamaica, walk good. You
Yes,
still
work
say that?
good.
You still say that? Okay. All right, Suzanne. Thank you and bye bye.
No
And we say,
problem.
all right. Bye,
No problem is a
everybody.
regular Jamaican expression.
Yeah, okay.
Bye.
Okay, the live stream is done. Thank you.
Okay.
Recording